Welcome to Worship Leader Hangout. My name's Chad Buckland, and man, does it suck when people leave your team. It's one of the hardest things for me personally to deal with because I take it personally, and I know everybody in the world says do not take it personally, but it is a personal issue sometimes with me, and man, it just hurts. But there's so many reasons why people leave the church, leave the worship team, or just step down to do something different, and I want to let you off the hook today. Early in this video, within 30 seconds, I want to go ahead and let you off the hook. It is not your fault. Unless it is. But let's talk about that for a second. It's not your fault. That person chose to leave the team. If it was an issue with you, they could have chosen to deal with that issue with you. They could have talked to you. They could have said, hey, I got this issue. It may or may not be true. Something I believe about you, something that somebody said about you. Let's talk about it. We come to a resolution, boom, they're still there. But it didn't happen that way. They already decided to leave. They sent you a resignation letter. They sent you a text. They told you in person the other day. They just said, look, I'm not going to be here anymore. And how do we take it? Well, we want to start throwing blame on ourselves. We want to start saying, I didn't spend enough time with them, or I didn't do this or that or this. And now this person is deciding to leave because of me. Well, like I said, it's not your fault. But there are a couple things we can do to learn about why they left and see how we can better understand that situation so we don't continue to blame ourselves. It's so important that we release that, give it to God and say, God, I know you have a plan for my team. I know you have a plan for my life personally. And I'm not going to take that as personally as I want to take it in the flesh. So you could talk to that person. Don't let that resignation letter, don't let the text or the conversation in person of them telling you they're leaving the team or leaving the church be the last time you talk to them, leaving you in question, and now you're like, what do I do? You can have just a quick sit-down exit interview. You could just have lunch one day, or you could just pull them aside after church one Sunday. Not before, please don't do it before, especially before they get on stage. We don't want that. No, talk to them after church. And say, I just want to understand more of why you left. I know you told me in the email, but I want to understand. And what that'll do is if you give them time to open up, they will open up and tell you reasons that you may not have thought about. And majority of the time, they just feel led to leave. Of course, we're not talking about the person that decided to move out of state for another job, or their spouses, got another job somewhere else and they're moving the area and they're leaving your church. I mean, that happens. That's one thing. But it's when somebody decides to leave your team for whatever reason and they're staying in the area, that's when it starts to hit home. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. When you do that exit interview, they will share information that may relieve you, and you'd be like, all right, well, that was cool. It wasn't me. All right, I understand. Or it could be a little bit confrontational. It was maybe somebody else. Maybe they had an issue with somebody else on the team, and they just couldn't deal with that anymore. Yeah, they didn't come to you, but now you understand that what the reasoning was, and it wasn't just you. And yeah, you probably could have fixed it before, but it is what it is. They've already decided to leave, and if you tried to continue to pull on that person, it would cause some sticky situations. You don't want that. So go ahead and just release them. Just say, I understand. Thank you so much for telling me. But what if it is our fault? What if I was the one that caused that issue? Well, now I know how to apologize. Or now I know for the future of anybody else that I'm coming in contact with through my team, I understand that, if I do this a certain way, if I lead this certain direction, people may or may not respond to that very well. And you start learning about yourself, and you start bettering yourself, and you don't really run into that situation again, or at least as often. So talk to that person. Try to do everything in your power to have a exit interview, like we say in the corporate world. Try to do that. That's really important for your benefit, for your growth and your leadership. So now you understand why they left, and maybe some things that you can improve in your ministry and your leadership as a worship leader, or you're just set free from your mind and that constant battling in your head, just like, oh, they left because of me and this and that, and because of something I said or something I did. Now you're just set free from that because you've talked to them, you understand the situation. And what's great about this is, I even believe simply because you had interest in this video, is that you have a genuine heart for what you're doing. you love being a worship leader, you love being a leader in whatever area you're in the ministry, and you're completely invested into each and every person that's involved in that, and you genuinely care when they leave. That shows you love what you do. I mean, I can't say that enough, and I don't want to ramble on that, but it really does. And if you didn't have heart, if you didn't care when people left, I'd question why you were there in the first place. I'd question why you wanted to be a worship leader. Anyway, I think it's awesome because God's going to bless you. He's already blessing you. Yeah, somebody left, but now there's room for somebody great to come in. God knows what he's doing. He's going to pull people out, put people in. And some people you want out. Maybe they had a toxic attitude and they decided to leave anyway, and you didn't realize what they were saying, underneath the fact. I mean, I don't want to get into that, but you just never know what God's doing. He's saying this person needs to go over here, and now you can fill that position, or you can just relieve yourself from that toxic attitude. You know those people, but I'm just saying God has a plan, and just let him do his thing as long as we stay in his will and just say, God, it's ultimately yours. I'm going to work my butt off, but it's yours, and I give it to you. And it's just cool where you are right now. It's a pruning phase. You may lose several key people, part of your worship team, and it hurts for a little while, but keep working, keep at it, keep recruiting. This is the time where you're going to meet a lot of new people, and they're going to come be a part of your team, and now you get to continue to teach that culture of what your team's about and what your church is about as a whole. I'm excited for you in that, and God is going to grow that team and grow that church, and just keep at it. Don't get down. Don't get depressed. God has a plan. Remember that. I want to end with this. One of the main reasons why I'm doing this video is because this is recently happening in my worship team currently. I've had a couple amazing people decide that they feel called to another church, and I'm dealing with all the same stuff. Everything that we're talking about, I'm dealing with personally, but like I said in the video, I have to understand God has a plan. He knows what he's doing, and we give it to him. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. It happens to everybody. Big, small, doesn't matter the size of the church, the size of the team, it happens. Turnover is a thing, but we just have to stay in it and just keep pressing, keep charging. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Remember, great worship leaders are always learning.